So Drake is now claiming that Kendrick Lamar defamed him during the Super Bowl performance of Not Like Us. Let's get into it.
Trap music history expert A.R. Shaw.
A.R. Shaw. A.R. Shaw. A.R. Shaw. A.R. Shaw.
A.R. Shaw, author of Trap History, Atlantic Culture, and the Global Impact of Trap Music.
Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the channel. This is A.R. Shaw, A.R. Shaw TV. I am the author of the book Trap History, Atlanta Culture, and the Global Impact of Trap Music. It's actually the first book that details the history of trap music and the culture of Atlanta and its global impact. Definitely check that book out. Like, subscribe, leave a comment. Let's definitely have a dialogue on some of the things that we discussed today. All right, I'm going to get right into it. So this Kendrick Lamar saga continues. 1 year after pretty much the biggest rap battle in hip-hop history, things continue. Like, we are seeing, like, this is definitely something that we've never seen in the history of hip-hop. Following the rap battle, of course, when Kendrick Lamar dropped Not Like Us, that was pretty much the end of the rap battle that we all thought, right? However, Drake, he hasn't really responded from a lyrical standpoint, because the Hard Part 6 was total trash. We should all forget about the Hard Part 6, and I'm sure he's trying to forget about it. So Drake decided to file this lawsuit. And, you know, we're several months in past filing this lawsuit against Universal Music Group, claiming that Not Like Us defamed him. Now, initially, you know, Drake claimed that UMG and Spotify used bots to kind of promote Not Like Us. And then in another lawsuit, he came back and said that basically UMG, Universal Music Group, was participated in the defamatory act because they promoted Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us. And of course, some of the lyrics in Not Like Us, Kendrick is basically saying that, you know, he's hinting that Drake may have some type of weird relationships with younger women. So today, things are just getting crazier and crazier. In an amended lawsuit, Drake claims that the Super Bowl was another platform that was basically UMG allowed for Kendrick Lamar to continue to defame Drake by performing Not Like Us. So I'm going to read some of what was pretty much said in this amended lawsuit that came out today. So this is what Drake's attorneys claim. They said that the recording of Not Like Us was performed during the 2025 Super Bowl and broadcast to the largest audience for a Super Bowl halftime show ever. Congratulations, Kendrick. You basically made history. Over 133 million people, including millions of children and millions more who have never heard the song before of any songs that preceded it. So, you know what? You know, in a sense, Drake is actually giving, you know, seems like he's giving Kendrick Lamar some props, in a sense where it's like Kendrick basically made history as the most watched Super Bowl in history, the most watched Super Bowl halftime in history, and it's actually one of the most watched televised programs in the history of America. I think it's the only. I think it's actually number 2 behind the moon landing, which is in the 60s, right? So, you know, you're making histories on multiple fronts. So I'm going to continue with what Drake's lawyers have said in this lawsuit. All right, they continue. They say, on information and belief, they say Kendrick Lamar would not have been permitted to perform during the Super Bowl performance unless the word PDF, and I'm not going to say the real word, but PDF was omitted from the lyrics. That is because nearly everyone understands that it's defamatory to falsely brand someone a certified PDF. And so Drake's lawyers is basically saying that Kendrick Lamar, and I guess he had some type of agreement with UMG or the NFL to not say the word PDF, the real word PDF. And you know, I think with the FCC, I think you can't say that word, but Kendrick omitted a lot of words throughout his entire performance. You know, anybody who's a Kendrick Lamar fan, you kind of know that some of the words he changed to kind of make it more TV friendly. I mean, I think that's what you would do if you're on national television, is that you would kind of change some of those, some of those words just to kind of make it more family friendly, right? And so this amended lawsuit continues. It says UMG conferred benefits and leveraged existing business relationships to secure Grammy nominations and eventually wins for Not Like Us and the recording in this video. So basically, they saying that the Super Bowl and the Grammy Awards, that UMG basically put Kendrick Lamar in a position to be successful at the Grammy stage, at the Super Bowl stage, because of Not Like Us. And so he's centering, they're centering, saying that basically Kendrick Lamar's success from 2024 basically revolves around Not Like Us and what he said about Drake. And the amended lawsuit also claims that UMG engaged in non-organic promotion of Not Like Us, saying that they basically used bots. Now, the thing is this: when it comes to, I think Kendrick Lamar said it best. He says you can try to rig the game, but you can't fake influence. Now, when you have grandmothers doing this little step to Not Like Us, you have kids doing this step to Not Like Us, you have babies. I mean, these kids, I've seen like videos of babies that are like three years old dancing to Kendrick Lamar, right? And I don't think they care about what's good or bad. Like, kids are the most honest people that you're gonna meet. Kids and elderly adults, they're the most honest people that you're ever gonna meet because they don't have any filter. If a kid doesn't like something, they're not gonna bob their heads. They don't care about your. They don't care. They don't really need your approval. So when you see multiple kids dancing to a song, that lets you know that it has a lot of impact. We've seen Michael Jordan request Not Like Us at a club recently, where he's just dancing at some nightclub. He's just bobbing his head to Not Like Us. My whole point is this: is that Not Like Us wasn't inflated by bots. It's a really good song. It's a really good hook. And people just love it. It's very infectious. It's, UMG, they responded to Drake. They basically are just telling him, like, look, we dare you. It was basically, Kendrick Lamar has a line in Euphoria where he says, if you don't tell any lies about me, I won't tell any truths about you. And this is basically kind of what Universal Music Group is saying in this response to this lawsuit. UMG basically said, look, if Drake doesn't drop the lawsuit in its entirety, he'll also personally be subjected to discovery. So you guys know what discovery is. When anytime there's a legal case, both sides can basically dig up any type of information and present it to the court. And UMG gave a firm warning. They say, as the old saying goes, be careful what you wish for. Now, so if we go into the premise of what Kendrick's thesis of Not Like Us, right? The thesis of Not Like Us is Drake is just a weird dude, and he has these questionable relationships with young women, right? Now, if Kendrick is putting this out there, and then Drake is basically saying, okay, Kendrick is basically lying on me. He's not telling the truth about what I've, my past life or whatever. Now what Universal Music Group is going to do is say, okay, we're gonna pull all of the evidence that we know that we have on you in terms of what Kendrick Lamar is talking about. So Kendrick Lamar, he creates a notion that, okay, this dude has some questionable activities. Now you can go back and actually find these questionable activities. I mean, there's actually videotape of Drake, who's probably, I think he's around 24, 25, and he invites a young woman on stage, and he's like, looking at her. He hugs her, and he's like looking at her. He's like, and he asks the girl how old she is. The girl is 17 years old. Now, some states, every state is different. Some states, the legal age of consent is 16. Some states is 17. But for the most part, I think, as adults, most people agree that, you don't mess with anybody under 18. You're 24, you probably shouldn't mess with anyone under 20, right? You probably should just stay in your age range if you're around 24 or 25. But this young woman told Drake that she was 17, and he proceeded to kiss her on stage. He kissed this young woman on stage. That's questionable. Like you're kissing a minor on stage, like, and like I said, I don't know what state. I'm gonna do my research to figure out what state it was in, but there's certain states where you can't, minors can't consent. Like if the ages of consent wasn't 16 in that state, he has some. That's the issue. But regardless of the age of consent, it's still questionable behavior, right? His relationship with Millie Bobby Brown, like Millie Bobby Brown was like 13 years old, and Drake is like going out and hanging out and having dinner with a 13-year-old and like going on boat rides with this young girl who's 13. You know, for me, it's like, I don't want to hang with a child that's, first of all, not a family member or isn't any type of, if you're a teacher or something, that's different. If you're a teacher, you're gonna interact with young people. But at the same time, even if you're a teacher, I don't know if you should be having dinner with kids that are 13. I just don't think you should do it. I don't think that's the right move to be having dinner. I think at this point he was like 28 or 29, and he's having dinner with Millie Bobby Brown. Now, if her parents were there, whatever. But that's, still, it's like, I think it was a red carpet moment, and they asked Millie Bobby Brown, it's like, oh, what do you talk to Drake about? Oh, Drake just talks to me about boys. So you have this grown man, you talking to a young 13-year-old about boys, about her relationships. That sounds like grooming. Like, why are you talking to a kid about relationships? Like, to me it's just weird. Like, what grown man wants to talk to a child about her boyfriends? Like I'm just, for me, it don't make sense. Like, I don't know if that's what they do in Canada. This is no diss to Canada. I got some friends who live in Canada. I've worked with a lot of people in Canada, but to me, it's just crazy behavior to think that it's okay to have a relationship like this with a 13-year-old child. But we have evidence that Drake has had this type of, closeness with these minors. Like, we have a lot of evidence around Drake's creepiness, right? Like, I don't think this is something that Kendrick just like, okay, I'm just gonna like say something and I don't have any evidence. Now, on the other hand, Drake in this lawsuit doesn't really talk about the things that he did in the rap battle. He doesn't say that he basically said that Kendrick Lamar's son isn't his, and claimed that Kendrick Lamar's wife is having the relationship with Kendrick's best friend, and that child is really Dave Free's child. He claims that Kendrick Lamar was abusive to his significant other. I mean, Drake doesn't put any of this in his lawsuit. So the thing is, this is just one-sided. I think what's happening is, I think the lawyers are really just draining Drake. I really just think that they're just taking his money. I think that they know that he's a lick. I think that they know that his ego is so hurt that he's willing to do anything, and he's grabbing at straws. I think this is what we're dealing with. I think that that Kendrick Lamar's that Drake's lawyers know that he can't win this case, but they're going to try to get as much money from this guy as possible, as much as possible, because they know that this guy ego is hurt and he's willing to do anything for any type of victory. Right now, I just wonder who is in Drake's corner right now. Who is his OGs? Like, we know that some of the OGs that he had in the past, but are they telling him like, bro, you look crazy? Like, no one is sitting Drake down and saying, look, bro, this ain't the move. And so that's the thing. I don't understand who's riding with Drake. I don't understand who's in his corner. I don't understand. I don't know who's like sitting down to talk to him and say, look, you're going to look crazy. Because I'm telling you, if discovery happens and they pull out his close relationships with young women, Drake's reputation is going to be bad. Life, you lost a rap battle, dude. Move on. Again, I am A.R. Shaw, the author of the book Trap History, Atlanta Culture, and the Global Impact of Trap Music. Check that out. Like, subscribe, leave a comment. Let me know what you think.